There's nothing in there. Hey, do you mind taking the graphic down? My mouse is. Oh, okay, never mind. My mouse is working just fine. Thank you. Sorry, technical difficulties. Hey, everybody, welcome to Unpopular View. It's Thursday. You know what that means? It's Top Five Thursday, and it's been a while since I've done a top five. But you got the grand poobah of Tuesday nights here on a Thursday, and I'm joined with the executive consultant. I mean, you're practically you do entertainment. You're on Wednesdays. I think you're on Mondays. You are muted as well. You have
I'm on every freaking day, like every freaking day for your entertainment, or at least until I find somebody to take over AEW.
so just oh my god, that was terrible. To pull the curtain back a little bit, for the longest time, he was like, "Hey, what's your top five? Hey, what's your top five? What's your top five?" And it took me a while to really come up with some kind of concept. I was like, a top five. What could this top five be about? What can it be? What would I want to have a top five about? And then I thought about the year 2002. 2002, I say to everybody, it is my favorite year of wrestling. Something special about it. Um, WWE to me was just on fire. It's literally after the Attitude Era. WCW's bought out, ECW's bought out. They got the F out. They have a brand split. A lot of really good stuff. But real quick, before I even break down and go any further, once again, you're watching Unpopular View. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like. Subscribe if you're new here. If you're on Facebook, I'm not sure how Facebook works these days, but just give us a reaction. That's cool too. That's great. And if you're on Twitch, hey. And if you're watching on the Twitter, we say thank you for watching us on Twitter. What did you think about when it came to this concept, right? Like you asked about, well, what you asked me what kind of top five can I come up, and I said 2002. Was you able to come up with a list? Was you able to was this a challenge to you, executive one?
Yeah, because this is when we transitioned, so to speak, for the most part, completely from the Attitude Era. Attitude Era started going away a little bit in 2001, but it was still around until they got that out. Then it went pretty much into the Ruthless Aggression Era, and a lot of people's favorite era is the Attitude Era. But
Yep.
there's still a really large minority out there, and I mean large,
Yes.
who's a big fan of the Ruthless Aggression Era, including yours truly. Not saying it's my favorite. I think it still might be the Attitude Era because of the unpredictability that we just will never be able to mimic again.
Sure.
The Ruthless Aggression Era, in my opinion, has some of the best wrestling
Yep. I agree to that.
of any era, even comparable to even now, where the wrestling's phenomenal also. So
Mhm.
I really am a big fan, and it was not difficult for me whatsoever to think of five wrestlers at least for the Attitude. I'm sorry, Ruthless Aggression Era, and let alone 2002. What's up, Charmaine?
Fantastic. So why don't we just jump right into it? I do want to say, so when I came up with my list, I already had a lineup. I wanted my list to be unique and different. And then as I was making my list, I was like, oh, do I put this person here? Do I put this person here? And I'm like, yeah, they didn't do so much in 2002. There was a lot of people uh, um, you can make an argument for if I could steal one of your lines. There's a lot of people you can make an argument for, especially the year 2002. But I do want to just jump with honorable mentions. I usually don't have one, but I just want to jump off rip with it. Uh, he was close. He was damn close to being on my list. Very, very close. I thought he had a really outstanding show out in 2002. But my honorable mention is this man right here, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle in 2002, he had a hell of a 2001, right? Towards the end, he had that amazing match. What was it? No Mercy against Stone Cold, won the WWF Championship. Was for that summer leading Team WWF. He had a really good 2001. 2002, I thought he turned it up a notch. He had a lot of great matches. The matches that he had with Edge were phenomenal. Um, then when he had that match at Judgment Day, he had the head shaved off, and then his intensity. He was always intense, but it was turned up by like I don't know, we want to say like 200, and he was putting on great matches. King of the Ring 2002, he fought Hulk Hogan. I think up to that point, Hogan has either never tapped out or that was the first time he tapped out in years. Big deal to be doing that. Um, he had that amazing triple threat at Vengeance with Rock and Undertaker. And he had really good matches with Rey Mysterio. He had a really good match with him at SummerSlam. I know I'm running down all these matches. Kurt Angle, is my point, in 2002 was killing it, and he was doing such a great job at also being a killer machine. But he was a comedy genius. You know, like he always had a great time in doing comedy. I put him as my honorable mention. He also won the WWE Championship at the end of that year, so I was damn close to putting him on my list. But it was hard for me, but I just wanted to say Kurt Angle. I don't know. Did you have any honorable mention, or
I
you
had
just
some
want?
honorable mentions. We only do them a little bit after, but hey, you are the boss of this one, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and throw the honorable mentions out right now.
Sure.
It's not going to be Kurt Angle for me. It's actually two wrestlers I'm going to mention in my honorable. Two. Okay, two wrestlers I'm going to mention in my honorable mentions, and that is they look right now. One is going to be Rob Van Dam, who in my opinion had a phenomenal 2002.
Wow.
Where he was teetering, and I do mean teetering on the main event scene in 2002. He had wonderful matches with Triple H. He had matches with Brock Lesnar. He had matches with HBK during his world title run. He was also in the six-man first ever Elimination Chamber match. So shout out to Rob Van Dam. I wanted to give him some praise and talk a little bit about him. Also, hold on, bear with me real quick while I load up this other one. But the other person I want to talk about is none other than The Undertaker. Had a really good 2002. What a lot of people also did not, well, we didn't mention, I should say, when we were talking about 2002, was 2002 actually was the beginning of the brand split in its initial incarnation, right? And who was the first draft pick for Monday Night Raw?
It actually, was the Dead Man.
If I remember correctly, first, SmackDown had the more draft pick. So it was the Dead Man. And ironically speaking, he ended up going over to Friday Night SmackDown. Actually, Thursday Night SmackDown then, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But Thursday Night SmackDown later in September when they had to revamp the brand split a little bit because they made some adjustments. But definitely want to point out that, that happened, right? So that is my honorable mention. It will be The Undertaker as well as Rob Van Dam.
Wow. You know, RVD, I mean, I didn't even think Undertaker. When you said Undertaker, I was like, he really did have a really good career. I said career. He definitely that, but he's definitely that 2002 period. And I think also, too, when he was making that, to me, American Badass and Big Evil were like the same, but there was such a difference to it that when you say that, it makes me go like, wow, it was great to know that he was able to make that transition and morph and evolve his character. So why don't we jump into number 5? We can get RVD down. Here we see you, Rob.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
all good. For number 5 for me, like I said, Kurt Angle was damn close for being number 5, but I went in the back of my head in memories. I was thinking about all these people in that year, and I want to go with number 5 because I had an idea what my list was going to be, but then it was like placement, right? So for me, for number 5, I'm going to go with one. I don't know if anyone's saying this lately, but thank you, Trish. Trish Stratus had a pretty good year for 2002, and she was also finding her way as a female wrestler, right? They put the WWF Women's Championship on her at Survivor Series 2001. She was still, learning the ring work and all that stuff. But she started really crafting it very well. And being in the ring with people like Ivory, I think Jazz is one of her greatest rivals, honestly. I thought Jazz brought out such a toughness to Trish. Everyone will look at Trish and say, oh, she's just pretty. She's just pretty. But Trish was someone who could take a licking. And when Jazz was in there. And, there's other women you can name because Victoria too later on. But Jazz was really what she put. Well, she was putting her shit in. She was putting her shit in. So I just want to go with number 5. I could keep talking forever. But being in the ring with Jazz, Molly Holly, and like I mentioned earlier, Victoria, they had that really great match at Survivor Series. They were out here in Madison Square Gardens, and real quick, I was surprised Victoria won. I remember saying, "Oh yeah, no, Trish is going to win," because Trish always was winning at that point. She had those occasional losses, but for the most part, she would win. And Victoria beating her for the championship at Survivor Series was a shock. So I'm going to go number 5, Trish Stratus.
Victoria beating her at Survivor Series. That was one of. Actually, no. Let me just put it this way. I think that might have been the very first, at the time, the very first women's match I was generally excited to see. Like I was really looking forward to that match because I just found Victoria to be absolutely captivating, absolutely breathtaking. She was really, really good in my opinion. And Trish can go at the time. She improved her skills so much that I felt like she deserved it. So very good pick on your part, in my opinion. But let me go to my number 5. My number 5 is going to be kind of controversial to say the least. But Hulk Hogan in 2002, I thought had a very, very good year. He had a comeback, and it led to a match in 2003 at WrestleMania. This Man, which I think is an underrated match. But I just really, really thought Hulk Hogan, who had that feel-good moment of Backlash in 2002, which was the quickest, I believe, world outside of Yokozuna, maybe. Quickest world title main event win at WrestleMania turnaround. Triple H losing a month later was really shocked a lot of people, including myself. But to Hulk Hogan, who was like in his late 40s at the time, really, really good. Of course, you mentioned his little battle he had with Kurt Angle, which I thought was a good match. He had a match with Brock Lesnar, putting him over. So I thought Hulk Hogan did a damn good job that year. So I want to give him a shout out for 2002. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk more top 5 2002 WWE superstars or wrestling superstars. What have you? Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular.
Let me show you something. Okay, this is my jug of water. Right?
It's disgusting.
We'll call this Keith Lee. This little guy here is Darby Allin. Right? Now watch this. Okay, this I wasn't good in science class. I wasn't, but watch this. Okay. For all y'all,
What was that?
For all that to this, see, let's try this again. This is Darby Allin. This is Keith Lee. All right, you see how that bounce? Let's do it again. Let's do it again, right? Let's do it again. Oh, okay, right? Takes away from the match for me. All right.
Let the record show that John Silver has a clean win over Keith Lee. It can be done.
John Silver actually is,
and he's like he's a little bit beefier, but he's still a small guy.
No, the beefiness. Pause. The beefiness. Size matters.
No. Not when the discrepancy is still large. Like you can be big, but if someone's still way bigger than you, it really doesn't matter.
Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, the limitless one. Okay, now watch both of them. All right, that's what should have happened, and it didn't happen.
AEW Dynamite immediately after AEW Dynamite is the Unpopular Review AEW review show with myself as well as Dice and the Sheriff. Look forward to us every single 10/10 Wednesday. But we are talking top 5 superstars from 2002, the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression era. We're at number 4.
You gotta do the 4 horsemen. You gotta put up the 4 like that. But real quick, Sheriff looked like she was just so over the both of you guys in that clip.
That's probably why she wasn't on last night. No, she celebrated her birthday, but it was.
Oh, good for her.
I know she was bothered by it, but I was like, that's how I felt. It didn't make. He did the coffin drop, and we gotta get back into it. But he did the coffin drop on Keith Lee. I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to do? Now he goes exactly.
Well, you remember there was this one time that he did the coffin drop on Billy Gunn, and Billy Gunn kicked out at 1. So I see exactly.
What the hell is this? You know what I'm saying? I used to have a Rikishi Banzai drop. This is nothing.
And that's that, and which is very horrifying because Rikishi. Shout out to those people who agreed to take those spots because I know for a fact that I would have said nah.
I definitely would have said no to Yokozuna. I don't know how.
Oh my god! Especially when he got bigger towards the end. I was watching this documentary, and they were talking as he got bigger, it was harder for him to maneuver and stuff like that, right? So there's one where he does it on Jim Cornette, and you could see the air and his soul leaving his body. So Yokozuna, absolutely, nah. But like the executive one said, this is top 5, so I'm gonna go to my top 4, and it was amazing that you said Hulk Hogan. I could just see Mike Knox somewhere is punching the screen as we speak because you said Hulk Hogan's name twice on this broadcast. But I'm gonna go with number 4 for me. I thought he had a really good 2002. He started off the year. I'm trying to think. Okay, towards the end of 2001, there was a split between him and his brother. I'm already revealing who it is. Then they come back together. They're doing their tag team thing. We have the brand split. And this at the time, young man, Jeff Hardy, was finding himself. I remember him telling his brother, said, "We're not extreme, we're just hypocrites." So what does Jeff Hardy do? He goes pick a fight with the biggest dog in the yard, which is The Undertaker. He's the undisputed WWE champion. He has a few series of matches with him. Undertaker always gets him to the point where Jeff Hardy said, "Tell you what, you've never been in a ladder match. Let's have that ladder match." And that match was it's such a classic, right? Great storytelling. I remember watching that match back then, right? And I remember recording it and everything. And I said, Jeff got to win, Jeff got to win, Jeff got to win. And you can hear the crowd. I feel like they were in North Carolina when this match happened. I could be totally wrong. But when this match happened, you could hear the deflation of the crowd when Jeff Hardy gets chokeslammed off the ladder. Undertaker grabs, which Undertaker's a tall man. I don't even feel like he needs to really climb that much of the ladder. But he climbs, grabs the championship. Last rides Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy says, "I'm still standing." Undertaker shows some respect for Jeff Hardy. And that was a really big moment for him. So I gotta go with number 4, Jeff Hardy. He won the European Championship a few weeks later against William Regal. Dropped it to RVD because RVD was on fire. But I thought he had a really good 2002 and showed that he could be a single guy. And it was cool to see that the company was behind him.
Including obviously The Undertaker, because I forgot all about that. And I actually was not a huge fan of that match like most people were. Not saying it was a bad match, I just wasn't as big a fan of it. But The Undertaker obviously showed that he had a lot of respect for him, and that was the beginning of The Undertaker turning babyface because he was a strong heel at the beginning, and then he slowly turned babyface. Somebody else who was a strong heel at the beginning of the year but turned babyface had a phenomenal 2002, even though he only had a handful of matches. But this guy right here, Shawn Michaels, HBK, I picked this picture, even though it's a bad picture because he won the World Heavyweight Championship. This man was out for 4 years. We all thought, this is the beginning when we really thought stuff like this, never would wrestle again. Came back, and even though his first run was absolutely fantastic, his second run arguably might have been a little bit better, and this was the beginning of it. Had a great match. If we have a best SummerSlam matches match, which I think we did have already, this was in my top 5, I guarantee it. Number 2, maybe number 1, I don't know, but definitely was in my top 5. HBK and Triple H 2002 SummerSlam, and he said, "I felt fine." Came back, was in the Elimination Chamber match. Granted, he was number 6, but he won there, and he won that match. Then he had another match with Rob Van Dam before dropping in the 3 Stages of Hell. A great match between Triple H and HBK. I believe it was at Armageddon that year. And nobody really talks about that match. And I'm not sure why, because that match is really, really, really good. But these two never had a bad match, Triple H and HBK.
They always had good chemistry.
At least in that iteration. But they've always had good matches. But I just would be remiss and upset with myself if I did not mention HBK. He's my number 4.
That's a really good pick because, and you mentioned about Shawn Michaels' run, right? I never got an opportunity. I caught more of the tail end of his first run. So when he had this second run, it was great for me to get to see the greatness that is Shawn Michaels. I know I give him a hard time because I'm a Bret Hart fan, but this second run was good. It was really, really good. And also, too, I just want to throw out, when you mentioned that match with RVD, it's a shame that we had that one crappy match because I think these two could have really had something special.
It wasn't a bad match, but you're right. With the 2 talents that were in there, you did expect a little bit more.
Yes. Okay, so for number 3, moving this train along, for my number 3, I mentioned one tag team wrestler. I'm going to mention another one. I'm gonna go with one. I'm gonna take it to the edge here. So Edge had a really good 2002. You know, he split from Christian in 2001. He won the Intercontinental Championship a few times. He I want to say he was the last WCW United States champion. I could be totally wrong, but I remember him beating Kurt for that title. I just don't remember if he was the last one. I think he was because he fought Test at Survivor Series 2001 and 2002. They were really getting behind him. One of the things I will sit here and say about the brand split, I remember when it first was announced. When I was younger, I thought, "Oh, this is terrible. This is a terrible idea." But as an adult, it was one of the smartest things to happen because when they put Edge on SmackDown, you can looking back at it, you could tell that they were really behind him. The matches that he had with Kurt Angle, that match where I forget which pay per view it is, but he beat Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle shaved his head, and Judge. Oh, that was Judgment Day. Good job. And he had a lot of great matches. He teamed up with Hulk Hogan. That was one of your picks. Teamed up with Hogan, won the tag titles, and he had some really good matches with one Eddie Guerrero. I mean, what's there to say about Edge? Edge had a really good 2002. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Edge for number 3.
Not a bad pick, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take. Oh no, 3. I didn't do my number 3. My number 3 was the person who fought HBK in 2002 SummerSlam, and that would be the Game, Triple H. Who, I mean, I could easily put him at number 1. He came back, had that phenomenal pop people talk about at the Madison Square Garden on Raw that time in January. Won the Royal Rumble, main event of WrestleMania. They should have made him in WrestleMania that year because they had Rock and Hogan. But main event of WrestleMania against Chris Jericho. Had a sleeper, great Hell in a Cell match between him and Chris Jericho. Dropped the belt cleanly to Hulk Hogan. Fought HBK. Had that Elimination Chamber match. Had the 3 stages of hell. Had a great little small feud with The Rock briefly after before he was handed the World Heavyweight Championship. The man done a lot of things. Also, Unmasked Kane. The man done a lot of things in 2002. Give him his flowers. This is the beginning when he was like really, truly. I mean, he was already that man in Monster Hill from the Big Man Helmsley era. But This is where he said, "Hey, nobody's ever going to outdo me as a heel." And arguably, is still the greatest heel wrestler of all time. Arguably, you can make an argument with some other things. That's the top 5 for another day. But this time in my top 5, Triple H. I was 1 8 short. Triple H is number 3 in my top 5 for greatest wrestlers of 2002. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take another commercial break. When we come back, our number 2, our number 1. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review. Let's do this one.
George says Eddie Kingston is currently on the best. Oh, please. Have you seen Eddie Kingston? He says Eddie Kingston is currently on the best run of his entire career. George, have you seen Eddie Kingston? This man ain't running anywhere. Please stop. I need to stop at this. I think it's time to go. This is ridiculous, Chris. This is wild. This has just turned into a wild show. And look at this. Look at this. We're gonna leave you with this comment right here.
Who's
Kingston?
Right
hold on. There's one more comment. George says, say that to his face at Hog High Intensity. Well, I'm not going to be there because one Hog show is good enough for me this year. I went to go see what's his face, and he disappointed me. But it doesn't surprise me that a guy like Eddie Kingston is going to be at a show that's called Hog. Thank you very much, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Unpopular Reviews podcast where we talk all wrestling. It happens every single Monday at 10 o'clock p.m. Simulcast for Raw. We talk Raw during that time, as well as a little bit of SmackDown, a little bit of AEW, Dynamite and Collision, NXT Rampage, you name it. We talk about it. Myself as well as Big Daddy Cool. Band's back together. Please join us every single Monday. But top 5 2002 wrestling superstars. Take it away, Grand Cooper.
For my number 2, you already mentioned him. He was in your honorable mention. I'm just going to jump right into it. This guy right here, RVD, Rob Van Dam, the whole damn show, the whole effing show. RVD, I was stoked for RVD. I didn't watch the original ECW. So when I saw him in 2001, he had that phenomenal match with Jeff Hardy. But let's jump to 2002, right? The year really kicked off for him at WrestleMania. He beats William Regal for the Intercontinental. I thought it was a really good opener, by the way. Good opening match these two have. Beat him for the Intercontinental Championship. Then we have the brand split. Eddie Guerrero returns. They have a pretty fun feud. It's the Battle of the Frog Splashes. I thought that was really good. They had a really good ladder match on a random episode of Monday Night Raw. Good stuff. One of my favorite, you was talking about SummerSlam matches, right? One of my favorite SummerSlam matches, like it would be, it's a top 5 for me. I thought he had a really, really good match with one Chris Benoit. I thought they both had different approaches to wrestling, but it was something about their chemistry that just worked for me. And I always loved the ending, him countering the backdrop into a splash and then hit the 5-star frog splash. I always thought that was such a beautiful way of ending the match. And other things too, like you was mentioning before. I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you was mentioning before, he was almost at the top. Mike Knox said, he was almost like at the main event. He was at the main event, but not really at the main event, if that makes sense. And him being in matches with Triple H, and even him beating Triple H. I remember it was a tag match. Him and Ric Flair beat Triple H and Jericho. Random episode Monday Night Raw. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then Triple H beats him, Undertaker. Like, if he was a champion, he was going to beat RVD. That Elimination Chamber, which was crazy. And if you remember how that Elimination Chamber was once upon a time, because now it's a lot safer, which is great for everybody involved. When he hit that frog splash or counter frog splash off the top of the cell on Triple H, and I think he crushed his neck or something like that. And shout out to Triple H because you mentioned him, but shout out to him because I know you're taking me out the match. I wouldn't have finished. I would have said take me out. But RVD 2002, I thought he had a really good year. A whole good year.
Triple H never really, and this is just something I know. Triple H never really forgave Rob Van Dam for that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why Rob Van Dam had that start stall career in WWE, where he was really hot and kind of went cold, really hot and kind of went cold. And I also think that's some of the reasons why HBK didn't have that good a match with him. But anyway, going over it, please make sure that you. I had something in mind. I can't remember what it is. Oh, top 5 next week. Actually, we'll review when I go down the rundown. Let's go to number 1.
Oh, wait, did you say you're number 2?
Did I?
No, you didn't.
No, I did not. I am all over the place. My number 2 is going to be the person who was honorable mention by Grand Poobah, and that is Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, in my opinion, is he never went. I've said it so many times. If he never went to Impact Wrestling, TNA, Kurt Angle will be the greatest of all time. I truly believe that. This man has never. I've seen him have great matches with people like Rey Mysterio. Not saying Rey Mysterio had bad matches. I'm just saying Rey Mysterio, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Brock Lesnar, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, even Mark Henry. I see it, and that's no disrespect to Mark Henry. I'm just saying everybody that I would think Big Show. He beat Big Show for the world title this year in 2002.
Armageddon.
So he has so many good matches, and this year he put over Edge. Steve always talks about who did he put over? Kurt Angle put over a lot of wrestlers. He put over Edge. One of my matches, we mentioned this in the top 5 something matches a couple weeks ago. I can't remember what it was. Oh, top 5 Edge matches. As a matter of fact, I think it was last week. And that was one of my, not the Judgment Day one. I thought that was good, but I liked the
Backlash?
Backlash one better, the one Kurt Angle won. I said it last week. I'm sorry for repeating myself. I hate repeating myself, but I remember watching that match, and Jerry Lawler stood up clapping. Jim Ross was like, "What are you clapping for?" And Jerry Lawler said, "Come on, man, that was great." And I was clapping too. I stood up on my seat at the time, and I clapped because that match was just that damn good. Kurt Angle, man. He will be my number 1, but I can't take anything away from my number 1, so that's why he's not. But Kurt Angle had a great year. He was favored to win the Royal Rumble. He should have won the Royal Rumble. Favorite on screen, I should say, to win the Royal Rumble. He should have won the Royal Rumble. It's a damn shame he never has won a Royal Rumble. But yeah, Kurt Angle is my number 2.
I wanted to dig a little deep in what you said, because you said if Kurt Angle never left to go from WWE to Impact, right, he would be the greatest of all time. Is that you're saying in WWE's terms or just in general? Because I feel like even with his Impact body of work, he has a great plethora of work.
He does.
And
He'll say it on air, and I'm not disagreeing with him because I've seen a lot of his work in TNA. That he feels like his body of work in TNA was even better than his body of work in WWE. If you can believe that, that's unbelievable to me. The problem is, and this is where people start disliking the exec consultant. That's why this is called unpopular reviews. But the problem is, unfortunately, there are still going to be fans who only know WWE. So they consider.
That's true.
That after he left in 2006, people say, well, what Kurt Angle's been from 2006 to 2017?
And that's true.
And that's the realism of it. They did not know there was he was somewhere else. He's somewhere else this whole time. Yeah, he was, and did a damn good job. Main Event Mafia is one of my favorite factions. They are great. Kurt Angle was the leader of the Main Event Mafia, but the bottom line is that hurt his career as a whole. People talk about Ric Flair, arguably one of the greatest of all time. A lot of people say that. But realistically speaking, when you create your Mount Rushmore, there's still a lot of people who leave Ric Flair out because his body of work, majority of it, was outside of the WWE, and they only know his WWE work. And yes, his character will still always get him over in the respect that WWE showed him, but they don't know his matches with Ricky Steamboat like that. They don't know his matches with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes like that, or the Great Muta, or anybody like that. So you have to really pay attention to that. But that's why I said that with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is arguably, the one day of the week, my favorite wrestler of all time. I will always respect Kurt Angle, and 2002 is one of the reasons why.
Great history on everything that you said there. So we're just gonna jump into number one.
They did have a leader. When I watched the Main Event Mafia story a couple weeks ago on the plane, I realized that they did actually show that there was a leader. Kurt Angle was the one in charge.
He was.
And that's why he came. I didn't even know pay attention. Even in their interest, they always came out the same. With Kurt Angle in the front and Sting in the back, and they did that for a reason because Sting was supposed to be almost on equal footing as Kurt Angle. You know, Sting was world champion. It was really strange. But watch that history. It was really a good thing. TNA did not get the respect that they should have because.
But we're gonna actually give them some respect. I don't know if we should be.
That's a spoiler alert.
That is a spoiler. But jumping to number one. Number one for me is, I mean, it was, when it came down to it, I immediately knew this was going to be my number one. When you think about rookie years, right? You hear the conversation. It's Kurt Angle. They even say, they say AJ Styles, which is what. So that's fine. Then fine. Then you can pick up right after I'm done and take the thing. But you think about these rookie years. Like I was mentioning AJ Styles, who was at this point not even a rookie, but I get it, WWE rookie, whatever. But you think about rookie years, and he's always in the conversation of one of the best rookie years ever. One, Brock Lesnar. Did the picture come up? No, it did not come up at all, did it? No. That was so bad. That was awful. I'm hurt by that. This computer was such a delay. But Brock Lesnar, he had one of the best rookie years. I remember when I first saw this, I said, this guy, he's a big, strong white guy. It was the night after WrestleMania. I never forgot. I remember it's burned in my head. You just see this big guy. He's hopping up and down. Everyone says, who the hell is that? And then he comes in the ring. Spine busts the hell out of Al Snow through the garbage can. Al Snow's laid out. Fun fact, or at least on TV, the first person to ever take the F5 was Maven. Maven ate that F5. No fork, no spoon, just slurps. He ate that F5. Boom! Then Spike Dudley comes into the mix. And Spike Dudley, shout out to him because he's taken so many bumps, some really gruesome bumps. So the fact that he can still walk, thank the heavens. And then Brock Lesnar goes on this tear, right? So Brock Lesnar, he destroys everybody in this ring. He has this undefeated streak. He's having matches against Ric Flair, Bubba Ray, Tommy Dreamer. He wins King of the Ring. I thought he had some really good matches with RVD. And you knew, looking back at it, you knew that they were grooming him for something special. I mean, look how Brock looked once upon a time. I mean, he's still a big dude. He's still scary. I just saw this video where Paul Heyman was running, and then the security tried to stop Brock, who was charging at them. So my point is, Brock Lesnar is still scary. But Brock Lesnar, young Brock Lesnar with the traps? What? Oh, man. Wins King of the Ring, then goes to SummerSlam to face Rock, and Rock is getting booed out of the building. I think they were at the Nassau Coliseum. Brock beats, and cleanly, too. He beats Rock clean. Something I've always heard about Rock is how given he is, because, like, he's just never been that person to be like, this is my spot. Or, like overprotective his spot, but puts over Brock Lesnar, passes the torch, right? Then Brock Lesnar goes and have this feud with Undertaker. You talk about Hell in a Cells. I don't know where this ranks for you in Hell in a Cells and whatnot, but he has, I thought, a pretty solid. It was a brutal Hell in a Cell, and this was the second Hell in a Cell of the year, because you mentioned Jericho and Triple H. So they have this match at no Mercy, and Undertaker loses, and he loses cleanly. And then and even to show more how much they were trying to protect Brock Lesnar, his first loss was to Big Show. But how did Big Show beat him? He cheated, and I thought this was silly. Now looking back at it, when they split him and Paul Heyman, but it is what it is. I guess they just said, "Oh, you're best without him," whatever. I don't know. But Brock Lesnar, 2002, what a hell of a year! What a debut, and yeah, and I think he could have been more. You talked about Kurt Angle never leaving. I only could imagine what Brock Lesnar would have been if he never left in 2004, which is still fine because he's been here for 10 years and killing it. But
I will always respect the Beast, the next big thing, Brock Lesnar, simply because the fact that he's another one. Now, nobody, I'm not going to say people sit here and disrespect Brock. Nobody disrespects Brock to his face or behind his back. And I'm saying it figuratively. But what I mean by that is the fact that when people say Mount Rushmore, people talk about greatest of all time. Brock Lesnar's never in that conversation. And I said it again. But I've said this before. He should be in the conversation. He needs to be argued for. The man is a 10-time world champion, right? 10-time world champion. Outside probably that first year, I don't remember ever seeing him in a tag match, right? Because I remember Mr. Knox and I, we were talking about it during the WrestleMania, the night after, on the Raw after WrestleMania, how I said we automatically knew Brock Lesnar was going to attack Cody Rhodes because Brock doesn't wrestle on Raw anymore. That's part of his contract since he came back in 2012. He's on the second run, and people need to pay attention. His second run has been over 10 years now. But anyway.
Yep, it has been.
Brock Lesnar doesn't wrestle on Raw, and he doesn't do tag teams. He doesn't do it. Right? So why in the world would you not put this man in the GOAT conversation? Because he always gets a reaction when he comes out, whether he's babyface or heel. I always talk about the Ali effect when they had that Money in the Bank ladder match and he was climbing the ladder, and every time somebody climbs the ladder, the fans get on their feet and they start cheering or booing, and they weren't doing anything to Ali. But as soon as because I was in Legends, I think, at the time, as soon as Brock Lesnar's music hit, everybody got on their feet. They were mad or they were happy, but they make a reaction. That's what Brock Lesnar does. That's what his music does. That's what his pyro does. I went to Las Vegas when he came back in 2021 after being gone for about a year because of COVID. 2021, yeah. Well, after being gone for a year because of COVID, and nobody thought he was going to be there because he was originally supposed to wrestle, and then it fell through. But he showed up. I jumped out of my seat. I was recording live because Roman won. I was acknowledging my tribal chief over his defeat of John Cena, and Brock Lesnar's music hit. I dropped my freaking phone, and I was jumping up and down like a mark because anybody was, because we were excited to see the Beast Brock Lesnar. But going back to 2002, which I'm going to tie into his rookie year, just as he eloquently put. There are a lot of people who had great rookie years. AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Ronda Rousey, Alberto Del Rio, people don't mention, but Alberto Del Rio had a very good year also his first year. Brock Lesnar, in his first year, debuted on the Raw after WrestleMania, won the King of the Ring, main evented SummerSlam, won the world title at SummerSlam, beat The Rock at SummerSlam, beat The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, not main evented, but wrestled, defended his title, Madison Square Garden against Big Show in a match that the fans were on their feet for almost the entire match, especially when you picked him up and F5'd him. Okay?
Yeah.
Won the Royal Rumble, 2003 now, but still rookie year. Won the Royal Rumble, main evented WrestleMania, won the world title at WrestleMania. We almost broke his freaking neck. All in 1 year's time. No one else can say something like that other than the next big thing, Brock Lesnar. No one can touch him when it comes to 2002. Not Kurt Angle, not Hogan, not Triple H, not Rob Van Dam, not HBK, not Edge. No one could touch Brock Lesnar in 2002. I didn't even mention he pretty much retired Hulk Hogan from full-time.
He beat the hell out of
Hogan. Full-time again after that.
No.
Well, after you full-time at the time, but he never wrestled full-time again after that.
Well, to be quite frank, after you got bear hugged and your blood got smeared on the manager, I wouldn't be coming back for more after that either.
You want to hear some more? Here's some more. People forget about it. I'm joking a little bit, but it's somewhat true. scared Stone Cold so much he quit wrestling for the fucking year. He took his ball with hope. He said, "You want me to lose to Brock? I'll just sit at home." That's what he did. He's Ric Flair. Brock had an amazing.
Yeah.
I watch it.
No, he did.
At the same time. If you're watching Impact Wrestling, if you're a wrestling fan, this match right here got the fans on their feet. They love this match between these two athletes. I remember this was taped in Atlanta 3 weeks ago, but I'm just mentioning that. Go ahead.
No, because I'm watching it myself right now. We're talking about Mike Bailey, and I don't know what this gentleman's name is at the moment. But
I forget his name too, but he is actually really athletic, as you can see from that leap ball. But
but yeah, no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was he was a killer in 2002, and I just want to say, for 2002, when we were putting our list together, it was such a great year because look at the balance right there. You mentioned someone like Hogan. You mentioned, you have your established stars like Austin Rock, and then you got your legends like Hogan, Shawn Michaels, and then you got these rookies we didn't even mention because they didn't have the impact in 2002, but later on 3 and 4 it was. But someone like Randy Orton and John Cena who were making their debut, Batista, who were later become household names, if you will. And even someone as well as, but he showed up very, very late. But he don't get talked about. You talk about people who don't get talked about a lot. Shelton Benjamin. It's just and I still, even now, was he in his 40s? I still sit here and say, please WWE, give this guy book him right.
Is 48 years old.
Doesn't even look it.
Does not look it at all. Just like Bobby Lashley, but Shelton's actually older. Does not look it at all. The only thing I would say about age with Shelton is he is still very fast. It's still very athletic. But you can see the difference between Shelton Benjamin 2002, 2003, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't do half the crazy crap he used to do before. But the man is still in phenomenal shape and still can move in that ring.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's pretty much our top 5. I mean, did you want to? You already told him that we're going to be doing an Impact review.
Impact review immediately after this, every single Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. You can watch the Mike Knox Show right here on Popular Review Wrestling, and then at 10 o'clock p.m. watch the Unpopular Review Wrestling podcast with myself, Big Daddy Cool. On Tuesdays immediately after NXT, Grand Puba and the Wrestling Doll bring you NXT every single Tuesday. On Wednesday immediately after Dynamite, myself, Sheriff, and Dice bring you AEW Wrestling, talking about Dynamite and Collision for that week. A little bit of Rampage. Thursday, top 5. Next week's top 5 will be best SummerSlam main events. Looking forward to that one. And then, of course, we'll go in. I said, of course, because King Von, Unpopular Review Entertainment every single Tuesday. We're going into our Hunger Games franchise, and then the Fools on Thursday. So immediately after this, in about 1 minute, we're going to be talking about The Jerk, starring Steve Martin from 1979.
Ooh.
And then, like I said, next Tuesday, of course, we're talking about the Hunger Games, the first one, Katniss Everdeen. And, of course, also on Wednesday, we have Gotham Knights. So,
no more. They're done. Gotham Knights is done.
Secret Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Secret Invasion, because Gotham Knights is over. And I think
of course it is.
2 more episodes left of that. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think a movie's coming out this week, so we might have another review. Yeah. I think, no, Barbie comes out next week, so we might do that. I'm not doing that. But Barbie comes out next week.
I'm not doing that. Fair enough.
I'm not doing that.
The Hunger Games.
We got to wrap this up. We got a show to do. Thank you. Well, take us home.
Oh, no. If you don't mind just taking the tropes. Hey, guys, thank you for watching Top 5 here on Unpopular Review. You heard all the plugs. You can follow our social medias on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, to Twitter, all that stuff. I think we have a Trends or whatever it's called. We might have that. I don't know. But just continue to follow Unpopular Review. We have all the content in the description. He mentioned that there's an entertainment side, so click it if you want to see what's going on there. And we say adios and thank you for watching, and tune in next week for another episode of Top 5.